Hey there, welcome to episode 244 of Fresh at 5. This episode starts off with AI Optimism with Becky Keene, a new podcast, and moves through the week. I've got another new to me podcast that I listen to, so that's two new ones this week that I have not shared before with you here on Fresh at 5. Looking at some the Australia law on social media ban, and that just came out on December 10th. And you know what? We wrap it up this week with taking a look at your camera roll and seeing the good. That's a practical way that we can do that. So listen to my thoughts towards the end of the episode on that. And without further ado, we got camera roll for the win. Happy Friday as I'm preparing this for you. Okay, bye.
I'm AJ Bianco from Podcast PD, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows in the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter, coming to you every week from Abbotsford, which is about 45 minutes east of Vancouver, British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to get some fresh air by walking about my neighborhood, which is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people, the Simath First Nation and Mathwe First Nation. I consume podcast content while I walk, then reflect on this content in an unedited video, which I post on my X, formerly known as Twitter, channel every day. This podcast is the collection of the audio taken from those daily selfie videos over the course of a week, Monday to Friday. So let's jump into my listening and learning this past week. Hey PLN, it's December 15, 2025. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Outside, we have our atmospheric river blowing through again, the Pineapple Express. I believe this is related to El Nino, and it's affecting my community around the Pacific Northwest in Washington, as well as in the lower mainland in British Columbia. And we are getting a lot of rain. I stayed in this morning because it's pouring outside, and I listened to a new to me podcast called The Good Life EDU podcast with Andrew Easton out of Nebraska. And Andrew, hey, it's good to connect with you. And I found you because I was looking for an educator, Becky Keene, and you just interviewed her on December 1st on your podcast. Episode 226 is where you can listen to that. So Becky is an educator that I haven't followed before, but I was at NCCE in Seattle in February, and Becky sat in the row in front of me at a session, and I heard her name. She was interacting with the presenter, and I'm like, who is this person? And it took me until now, Becky, to dig in to go, hey, where is Becky Keene in the world? What's she doing? And I saw a post from you on X, I think it was, or could have been on Blue Sky, and I'm like, I gotta find out what's going on with Becky Keene. So on episode 226 of The Good Life, entitled Moving Past the Hype, Becky Keene on what AI can really do for teaching and learning, you talk with Andrew Easton about the work that you're doing with looking at the potential over the problems and having an optimistic mindset. You wrote a book recently called AI Optimism. I need to get that book so I can take a look at it. And also a previous book where you talk about the 7 C's and about how we approach technology integration with a mindset of making a difference in students' lives and empowering them, and not just the shiny tools. The shiny tools are there, but are they learning as a result of spending time with us and being better critical thinkers and communicators, collaborators, creators, and all those things, curiosity and such like that. So this is a fantastic episode. I was my introductory to hearing you talk about all the things that are exciting to you, and I'm going to keep on following you. And I got to look up your TikTok walks and follow those, I think, on Facebook, because that's the platform that I use, and see what you have to say about AI every day. All right, Andrew, I'm going to follow your podcast as well. So this is a twofer today, people. Becky Keene and the Good Life EDU podcast. Okay, bye. Hey, PLN, December 17, 2025, out for Fresher at 5 this afternoon. And I've listened to the EdTech Throwdown, episode 204 with Eric Geis and Nick Johnson as they bring us EdTech Wrapped. It's like in the theme and idea of Spotify Wrapped, but what are their most used and reasons why? EdTech tools that they have used. If it was for me, I would have to have Adobe Express probably at the very top of the EdTech tool that I use. And there's many reasons for the animation and video things that it does and simplicity of the graphics. So I really like that and have used that quite a bit. The guys bring us their thoughts on their top used app, actually their top Spotify music song that they listened to that they had in their Spotify Wrapped, and other fun things like that. So take a listen for yourself. They talk a lot about Canva and the Canva apps within the magic tools that are in Canva, and even ask Canva and how Canva can help you with your design ideas and improving those things. All right, that's episode 204 of the EdTech Throwdown with Eric and Nick. And yes, hope you guys are doing well. Hey, Merry Christmas to you guys. If I don't hear from you before the break, because it's coming, and Christmas is actually just next week. Okay, Merry Christmas. Bye. One more thing for December 17, 2025. I listened to the X Factor Level Up Your Mental Game podcast, episode 108, as Brian Martin brings us the idea of where is your energy going. And where our energy goes is our focus and how we spend our time and the things we think about. Are we focusing on the negative, or are we thinking about the positive? Because if we focus on the negative, which is our negativity bias, then it's going to consume us and bring us down, and we shouldn't do that. But you know what? We can't always be on the positive all the time. It's about a balance, and it's about how we get through to be able to make a difference for ourselves and take care of ourselves with our thoughts. All right, I got Archie with me. There's little Archie, and he is my mom's dog, and he's with us and lives with us now, and so he's out for a walk with me. Okay, goodbye. The last thing for December 17, 2025, I listened to Tech Tools for Teachers with Shanna Martin in episode 200. Oh my goodness, I forgot Shanna. It is Creative Time Saver Tools with Hello Kids, and also the art YouTube channel called, I forgot. Anyhow, on this beginning of December, Shanna shares with us Hello Kids, which is an art crafting kind of, website that has video tutorials and step-by-step things and lots of projects and creative things. And so, your kids over the break and your grandkids over the break, this is a good way for them to get some ideas and to do something with their hands compared to, just on their phones and things like that. All right, so that was that one. And it was also the YouTube channel. I can't remember what it's called, but it was an art one. So go listen to this episode by Shanna, see what her and Fuzz are talking about, because it sounds fantastic. I'm going to check it out. All right, Merry Christmas, Fuzz. Merry Christmas, Shanna. Take care. Bye. Hey, PLN, it's December 18, 2025 in the evening, and I just went out for a walk, and I listened to the Digital Kindness Podcast, new to me podcast, Digital Kindness Podcast, with host Andrew Markinek as he talks with an Australian, Brett Salakis, about they discuss the impact of the new social media law in Australia and the impact that they believe it'll have. And so Brett is a technology guy, works for HP, I understand. He's a father and interested in technology happening. And he concludes that this is a good thing overall for Australia. December 10th, 2025, I saw it on the news here and went, that's interesting. Australia is the first democracy to declare that social media should be for 16-year-olds and over and not 13-year-olds like it has been. And what's the impacts of this going to be? It's going to have effects because the kids are going to be something's going to be taken away from them, not immediately, but through age verification and tools like that these companies need to put in place to verify the age of their users to, it's going to be taken away. What's that going to impact them? It's going to make them like, whoa, addiction, withdraw, because these are addictive practices, Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and things like that they've got on a list of 10 companies that they're looking at. Things that social media tools that students can, or young people can use that they don't need to be logged into for maybe messaging and things like that. But, like things like, I don't know, maybe Discord possibly might go away for under 16-year-olds. Will that make a difference in Australia? I believe it will. It's going to affect some. It's going to affect the younger generation because they won't have the same opportunity that their older peers have had with social media and the experimentation with that. But I think it's going to change for the good. Some negatives and cons about that, mental health and how social media can be used as a tool to support students and young people's mental health is going to be taken away. So what's going to happen? How are schools going to have to step up? How are we going to have to get information available to students so that they can get the support that they need, possibly through social programs and things like that? So it's interesting to see this happen. They talked a lot about keeping the humanity and technology and the balance between those two things and how technology should serve humanity, not the other way around. AI got involved in that conversation also. Take a listen for yourself to Brett Salakis' talk with Andrew Markinek on the Digital Kindness Podcast. Thanks, bye. Hey, PLN, it's December 19, 2025, Friday. It's the last day of school for me for 2025. I am thankful for that. It's been a full semester, a lot going on, and it's time to get some rest. Looking forward to that. I've got a number of tasks today to do. Got to go in and clear up my inbox, communicate with students about the upcoming assessment week coming up in the end of January, some other things, clean my desk off, and then settle in for the Christmas break that starts for me this afternoon at probably about 2:30 this afternoon. All right, this morning for Fresh Air at 5, we are 3 degrees Celsius and clear skies in between rainstorms this week as we've had a lot of precipitation. It hasn't rained as hard as much as they said it was going to. Well, so I am thankful for that because it protects my neighbors that live down below where I walk on the flats from the floodwaters that pour in from the United States. Okay, I listened to the Easy Ed Tech podcast with Monica Burns, and it's a bonus episode with Jotform, as Jotform sponsored an episode with her, as she talked with Michael Hernandez about creating uncheatable assessments for students in the age of AI. And this is not a new idea, Michael and Monica. It's something that we've wrestled with for a long time, but how do we do this? And in this episode, Michael says that students cheat for a couple of reasons. One is the incentive for the student. Why do they do so? Is there so much external pressure that they feel the need to take a shortcut? As teachers, do we cheat? Do we take shortcuts on things? We don't call it cheating. We call it efficiency. Yes, so for student efficiency, how do they take shortcuts to get around things? One of those ways today is using AI to solve some of those problems for them by doing writing, answering math questions, etc. like that. And the other is, are we making cheatable assignments as teachers? That's our fault. Are we asking the same thing of all the students in our room at the same time, year after year? That sets us up for being cheatable. All right, do things that are original. Original artifacts have student voice, their actual voice in their projects, so they can't just rip it off. They actually have to repeat and say, and present, do their presentation, things like that, and come up with original ideas for assessments. Thanks, Monica. Thanks, Michael. Happy Friday. Merry Christmas. The last thing for December 19, 2025, Teach Happier's hello from Suzanne and Holiday, Holiday hello in episode 12 of season 6. And hi, Suzanne, how are you? I'm glad to hear that you are finishing well this year and taking some time to not press us into yet another incentive or another idea to try as we are in a busy season, and you recognize that. I really appreciated your thoughts last week about see the good and seeing the good in things, and the idea that you shared on this episode about what one of your friends said was to go and look at your camera roll. Look at the camera roll on your phone. That's the camera you have with you, and see what's happened over this year. What have you taken pictures of? For me, I've got, 4,000 pictures on my camera roll that I could look through, or go to my Google Photos that are a backup of all those things, and sit down one day and just scroll through all those things. My daughter, she was working on a grad assignment for a class for grade 12 for graduation, and it was to go and back and present some ideas about your family and things that have happened in the past. And she sat down, and I gave her access to my Google Photos, and she looked at her pictures of her. So we typed in her name, and over the years from when she was born until now, and man, it was so fun to listen to her sit and laugh. And she's like, oh, Mom and Dad, look at this, look at this, look at this. And just remembering those details. So, Fresh Air at 5 listeners, I challenge you to take a look at your camera roll and your photo backup, because we all have them, or I hope we do, of the photos, of the past year for sure, and even the past 5 years, and go, what are the good things that are going on in there? I like this idea, Suzanne, so much. So good. So, yes, do that. And Suzanne, I'm glad to be a listener of Teach Happier. I've been a listener of yours for probably 3 or 4 years, and I've shared you when I've been doing sessions and people to listen to. And, I appreciate the encouragement and the positive message that I get from Teach Happier. So people, tell someone about Teach Happier, look at your photo roll, and I wish you a Merry Christmas from Fresh Air at 5.
I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's like a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find some other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific episode podcast titles and episode numbers in the show notes, which are only a click or swipe away for your learning convenience. I've also started to put together a Spotify playlist of each of the episodes so that you can also take a listen to those specifically, and the link to that playlist is in the show notes. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoy this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. You can also follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Brian Carr, BRYONCAR, or at Fresh Air at 5. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can be found on the Educational Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day. Get some fresh air before the day is out and take care of yourself because you are worth it.